caretaker, and he snuck out to New York City one night under watch from the caretaker, and he went to Times Square to really get the word out about Tralfamadore. And as he was going about, he noticed Kilgore Trout's books in a window of a store. And he began to read some of them and was super interested by them. And then he saw actually a pornographic magazine with Montana on the front cover of it, who later he discovered. Like, he kind of like, and then he thinks back to, he sees like them in the same room and she's breastfeeding their child. And she's like, I know you've been time traveling. I know what you're thinking right now.
Is it a coincidence that like Trout's books talk about a man and woman being abducted by aliens?
Yeah.
There's got to be something deep about that.
Yeah.
You can't just dismiss it as crazy talk with all these coincidences.
Well, when he sees that Trout's books actually contain like a man and woman being abducted by aliens and put into like an enclosure, I know where that's from.
Yeah. But then he goes on a talk show and is escorted out because everyone thinks that he's crazy. But he ends up falling asleep before he gets back to his room. And he travels through time once again. Mm-hmm. And like I said, he sees himself with Montana as she's breastfeeding their child. And she knows what he's been going through. Like, she knows personally that he has been experiencing these time travels. But then it swings into chapter 10, and the Tralfamadorians seem to be more interested in Charles Darwin than Jesus Christ and his ideology of death serving as like a function rather than...
They would watch that like evidence rather than go based on faith.
Right. In quotes, it said, "Corpses are improvement." That was pretty significant to me because it made me stop and think about death as it says a function rather than a penalty or an end, right? But Vonnegut then tells us he is not certain what Billy learned from the Tralfamadorians about external existence is actually true. But Vonnegut then recalls eating salami sandwiches and drinking white wine with O'Hare on the plane over to Dresden, and that memory that he had sticks with him because of the friendships he had, such as O'Hare and other guys that he right. Those will stick with him because the close relationship he had with them. It takes him back to the time where they were cleaning up dead bodies as their punishment from the camps, and it said that they had to use flamethrowers to cremate the bodies, which I thought was super vulgar. I couldn't even comprehend that, but
reminds me of the Holocaust and they did with crematoriums.
Right.
Yeah.
Mass killing.
Smells really bad. Edgar Derby was arrested with a teapot and convicted of plundering. He was then executed by the fire squad. So that was pretty...
teapot.
Yeah. But soon it became spring and the war ended. So that is a summary of the 3 chapters. And don't go anywhere because coming up next, we have an analysis of Billy's psychological state. So don't go anywhere.
That was Mr. Brightside by the Killers. Funny thing, I actually did some research about that song. The song was actually written by the Killers, lead singer whose girlfriend cheated on him, and it affected him psychologically. So you see the ties between him and Billy. Yeah. Not on Billy's level, though. Billy is really up in the clouds. But, so for this next part, we're going to talk about Billy's psychological state and how it actually progresses in a positive way towards the end of the book.
Yeah.
Because we'll discuss in a second. Like
In terms of awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get to that later.
well, in 8 through 10, Billy's time travel is actually slowed down dramatically. He remains in present time a lot, but you know it still hasn't gone away. Like he still visit, like stimulants are still present. He still visits the zoo, his enclosure with Montana, in Dresden with inside the slaughterhouse and outside after the bombings, talking with all the people, and in present time. Like because of these time travel, is Billy living like I thought about this like. Is Billy living a double life because of his relationship with Montana and his present like? Because he started a new family.
That's interesting.
Like, he started a new family with Montana.
I mean, with the whole looseness like of this book, there's no beginning, there's no middle, there's no end.
So
I mean, like you can see this like I want to say an alter ego, but in his mind, whatever he could have a preference because that is real. That like he's bound like in his mind that is real to him. So
yeah.
It's a matter of preference. Like he is living a double life.
Well, his new mate, quote unquote, Montana, is now 6 months pregnant and eventually has a child, which is a new family. Which like asks the question like, what about his real life with his real family? Like, what's going to happen with there if if this wasn't an illusion, actually a time travel, which kind of sounds insane. But when he's in present time and after like he hears the flaps and he walks upstairs and he's away and wants to go to the bathroom, he sees his son sitting on the toilet, pants around his ankles with a pink guitar. He realizes that like he doesn't even know his son.
Yeah.
And that he realized that he actually wants to stay in the present time more long and be with like his family. So I guess that he would rather favor his real family over than his illusional family with Montana and their kid.
You could almost say like at their point it was like nearing like I don't want to. It's almost like it could have been an addiction.
Yeah.
The illusional because it's like a drug.
Yeah. And then like I said before, he was completely shaken by the Fed's performance, because of going back to the Dresden bombing, he saw like the guards with like the mouths open, and but that and like when he's with Kilgore Trout at his 18th wedding anniversary, Trout thinks Billy has looked through a quote unquote time window, and I asked the question myself, like, does this show that Trout might know something about time travel / flashbacks in relation to what Billy is going through? And Billy is so distraught by like this performance, he has to leave the room, as I said before, and you cannot find out why he is so affected by this performance, and which gives him a flashback and back to Dresden with like the guards, like I just said before.
Right.
Which really like brings to the new idea that Billy now realizes that he actually has trauma going inside his head, and that he has sort of been hiding it from himself, almost like a self-denial. But now he's become self-aware of his own insanity and starts to become sane again. Like, so that's why the time travels have slowed down. When Trout asked the question, if Billy has seen stuff in the past or future, Billy lies to him and says no. Like, and for me, I didn't know why, because Billy wants to tell people what he has seen.
Yeah.
Back through it, and I don't know, it confused me from the Vonnegut. I don't know, he's really getting inside my head. He owns so much land inside my head from this book. Back when Connor was talking about Times Square and how he sees Trout's books, is it like when we talk about coincidences, me and you, where that the books contain tales of aliens abducting a man and a woman, or Billy and Montana?